mental health isn't a one-size-fits-all approach.
There's so much money being poured into sort of mental health and awareness programs.
But at the same time, there has been an increase in the male suicide rates.
It doesn't make sense.
But there's a lot of guys that just need to go out and maybe meet some new people.
Everyone's so comfortable having discussions behind a screen. Part of our ethos is having face-to-face discussions with people. It hits different when you're speaking to someone and you're looking right in their eyes. You can feel their pain. You can sense when someone's uneasy.
This isn't just mental health. Any profession that can help a bloke be better, that's who we want to work with. Nutritionists, family lawyers.
We aren't a podcast. We are a fucking charity. We've said it so many fucking times. This is a vessel for us to be able to have conversations and try and get the message out of what we're trying to do.
Welcome to the Better Bloke Podcast. I'm Matty.
I'm Rob.
And we're just a pair of average blokes on a mission to try and be a little bit less average.
We're going to speak about all things highs and lows of what it feels like to be a bloke, plus speak to some legends along the way about what it takes to be a better bloke. Let's get stuck in. We are back, and before I start, I want to say happy anniversary, Matty.
Happy anniversary, darling.
Oh, thanks. Oh. Do you know what the anniversary's for?
I do. This is episode 52, which means 52 weeks.
Which means 1 year. 1
year of Better Bloke.
That's pretty special.
Let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So obviously, right, 52 weeks, that's a year of doing the podcast. And we essentially waited up until the podcast was ready to go to launch out the charity itself.
Yes, because we thought that the best way that we can possibly get our messaging out is by us sitting on these couches, talking shit between the both of us and having guests on that we just wanted to hear life stories. And so people could sort of take inspiration of what others have been through and maybe put it into their everyday actions.
Yeah, having yarn. So it started with the podcast and then we rolled out the website and the social pages and all of that. Of course, there was 13 months before that of actually figuring out what we're going to do with this charity. So really it's over 2 years of the process of Better Bloke. But now it's 1 year into doing events, doing podcasts, having conversations, and let's talk about what we've learned, because the mission has remained the same. But how we're doing it, what we see resonates, and the actual actions and the programs that we're putting out there has changed as we've gone into it and learned more and more.
I disagree.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Every good relationship needs communication, and that's what we're doing right now, even on an anniversary. I wouldn't like to say that the programs have changed. They've evolved, maybe. Maybe it's just a wording thing, because the programs that we've had in place and always wanted to deliver they've always had the same goal. We've
developed the program.
Yeah. And that's to be expected. It is, like we said, we're a year in now. Everything that we do is 100% for what we feel is the best way to go about who we want to reach. But we're learning as we're going too.
So we've done 52 podcasts. I think we're up at about 15 live events. And then we've done a bunch of other stuff as well in the online space, created a bunch of resources, spoken to a lot of people online from the messaging we've put out. What's been your favorite experience so far?
Well, that's a hard one. And I know we sort of briefly discussed this and I said we wanted to go into this episode super raw and keep it as authentic as possible, but I wasn't expecting a hard-hitting question like that as to it. I don't think I could really nail it down into one specific thing. I think it's just all the conversations we've had in person, where for so many years I've had conversations with guys online, and obviously there has been certain times that we've had conversations in person, whether it's you go and do a welfare check in person or all these other things that you meet up with members. But being that we're giving boys a space to actually come with the intent to have conversations, that's probably the one thing for me that's my favourite.
For me, it's got to be the Northeast hunting experience. And I think that's because it has all those things you spoke about wrapped up into one. We went away for multiple days. We met so many people. There was like 120 people there. So a lot of conversations with all sorts of walks of life. And it was out in the bush. So it was sort of, I guess, isolated from other distractions, and the longer time frame allowed us to really get stuck in and get to know these guys. So that's something that's probably one of the biggest highlights for me that I'd like to do more of. And then a handful of the conversations we've had on the podcast that have really resonated with me, and I've been able to take learnings from these people we're talking to. So standouts to me would probably be Angry Dad.
Yep.
Having, I guess, a dad type figure, an older dude that's had such a crazy life and been able to give so much teachings. And if we're learning, like, it's great for the listeners. So they're my standouts.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think back. I think I've taken something from every single podcast, not just the guest episodes, but even just you and I doing like these solo ones that we do. I think and I'm hoping that our listeners are getting the same thing that I'm getting with a lot of what we discuss. To others, they may not understand it because they're not the standard demographic of who we're trying to hit. But as subtle as it may seem, a lot of these conversations are so thought-provoking that obviously you need to be open to doing it. But yeah, I've had a lot of self-thoughts and just my way of thinking from having conversations with you, or like listening back when we're doing the finals of, yep, sweet, let's pull the trigger on this and let's go. But yeah.
Or another big one is when we decide that we're going to discuss a topic, we have to research it, right? So
Yes,
yes,
we have to research it. You have to research it.
I research it. But then, so it's kind of like a forced learning almost. Like I didn't find myself reading a great deal of academia before this project. So suddenly I'm diving into learning about all these things, and then we're discussing them, getting other people's opinions. That in itself is a powerful self-development tool in itself. So that's cool.
Even that, like, this is something that I've learnt over this 12-month period for me is like what I just said then. Like, I don't study it, I just do it. That's bullshit. Because I put a lot of effort into it, but then I just downplay because it sort of leaves the back door open for you. So it's like, oh, okay, it's all good. Not my back door.
His back door.
Not my back door.
Let's jump into why we did this project in the first place. Now, there's been a lot of money and resources poured into mental health in Australia, whether it be the programs, what's available, and also just reducing stigma and making the discussion more encouraged.
Yeah, a lot of money poured into awareness programs too.
But at the same time, there has been an increase in the male suicide rates.
Yes.
Right? And that's for a number of factors. But that paradox in itself is where we find a problem with it. There's something going on that doesn't sit quite right with us. Our background in blokes advice and dealing with guys has proven to us that there's something more there. And when we looked into it, there's a lot of studies and research that a gendered approach is appropriate, and different demographics need different language, different tone, different ways of receiving messages. It's mental health and healthcare in general isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. It's not. It just doesn't work like that. So with the Better Bloke project, that was a gap we were trying to fill. We were trying to speak to guys that weren't being served as well as they could with traditional methods. And I think we've done that pretty well.
I can safely say with my hand on my heart, we have done that very well. And like we have said many, many times, we are not professionals, but what we are is a bridge to be able to get those guys that previously wouldn't have done it able to, oh, fuck me, I just fucked that.
That was a strong hook.
That was a really strong hook.
You want to try that again?
Let's wind it back. Like we've said many times, we are not professionals. We are just the bridge to be able to get guys to go and speak to these professionals. By us using the language that we do and the methods that we do, it just helps sort of bridge that gap, Because like you said, like statistics are going up. There's so much money being poured into sort of mental health and awareness programs. It doesn't make sense. And I don't know the reasons as to why, but I know what we're doing is being received so well by the majority of guys that we are wanting to actually reach.
And that's 100% the point, which has been maybe lost in translation. We're trying to reach a kind of guy, our guys, the guys that we know how to speak to. And the way we're doing it has been really good. And like we said at the start, we've been able to roll out all these events and the podcast and discussions. So now it's really a question of refining that and turning up the volume. So there's only so much we could do. We obviously started this on the side essentially, and it still is more or less on the side.
Yeah, this is not our job.
No.
Much to what people think.
So a year in, no one's been paid. We're not those kind of charities. Everything we've done has been rolled into creating resources, creating the podcast, hosting barbecues, getting us to other people's events to speak and meet people. And that's literally like everything we've poured into it has gone into directly helping blokes. So that's something we will keep doing. Obviously, we need to scale it. So that's something we're coming up against now. Guys are asking us, come to this event, talk here. Can you please give us this? How do you better serve these individuals that need help? And it is getting to that stage now that we do need to do the funding thing. So if you are watching and you want to donate, jump on the website. It does help. And also like we'll look into corporate sponsors and getting grants and all those sort of things to really take our ability to deliver our programs to more people. That's what we're doing at the end of the day.
And I think that's something that's like really, really important to, it's to both of us, but particularly me, is a lot of people will see this and they'll be like, oh, they're asking for corporates to come on board because it's like to sponsor the podcast and do it. No. We aren't a podcast. We are a fucking charity. Like people need to maybe just think that, hey, you know, they're a podcast. They're doing this. No. This is literally, we've said it so many fucking times, this is a vessel for us to be able to have conversations and try and get the message out of what we're trying to do. We are foremost and solely a charity, a registered Australian not-for-profit charity.
On that, we deliver programs. Should we talk about like some of the stuff that we have been doing or things that are half done and we're about to deliver?
Yeah.
Cool.
We can.
Sweet. So let's break it down. Charities need programs, and we have 4 programs
We do.
at the moment that we're running. So first and foremost is what we started with. It's a podcast. It serves as a platform where we can have discussions with each other about topics, but more importantly, bringing on guests so we can talk to them, like learn about their life and get some relatability in the learnings, because that's been shown to be one of the things that break down a barrier when it comes to mental health.
Yeah.
Is doing it a little bit funny, doing it in a little bit of an entertainment sense, and doing it from someone that's relatable. They're proven to break down barriers in these conversations.
I think it's just so important to hear other people's stories. Like we've spoken so many times about like lived experience, and if someone's telling their story and how they dealt with it, other people can't fucking judge at all, because that's their own experience of that situation of what they've gone through.
We got a comment on TikTok yesterday.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. And it was a post where I was talking about one of our members that did take his own life.
Yep.
And there was a comment section on a post from him with hundreds of people giving their advice. He had said he was suffering from depression, and everyone put in their 2 cents. One of the comments, amongst others, was he should try the carnivore diet. Someone on TikTok blew up on that one comment and said that it was damaging. It was not proven to help with suicidal ideation and all those things. And I was thinking about it. If a guy has had a lived experience where he, for whatever reason, thinks that helped him, he's got every right to express that. we're not putting it out there as gospel textbook truth, but in a thread of advice from the general population, he's more than welcome to say what works for him. That's the point.
Well, that's the whole point of like, it's exactly the same as that person didn't have to put a comment on, but they chose to do it. So you can't blow up about someone else doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's TikTok for you.
It's, yeah.
Program number 2, the barbecue and chill.
Yep.
So this is one we've run quite a lot of them all around the East Coast, Southeast Queensland area, where we get the barbecue and chill. You can talk about what the event is, and we have our first one coming up interstate in Melbourne pretty soon.
We do. So the first one coming up in Melbourne is happening this month, actually. If you want to find out details, go to betterblokeproject.org and it will be in the events tab, as will all the other events that we're going to be putting up on. They're going to be on the socials as well. But anything that you want to see from us, it is always best going to the website, betterblokeproject.org. So the whole reason for the community events and like the barbecue and chill was to get guys off the screen and in person. So everyone's so comfortable having discussions behind a screen, typing text out and whatnot, but it's almost as if it's not real. And that was something that we really, part of our ethos is having face-to-face discussions with people. As hard as it may be, it hits different when you're speaking to someone and you're looking right in their eyes. You can feel their pain. You can sense when someone's uneasy.
After the Ipswich barbecue and chill, because we posted that in a couple of the community groups, I had this lady reach out to me and she said, "Hey, I saw this thing you did. Never heard of us before. Can you talk to my husband? He's kind of lonely." I'm like, sure. Here's my number. Tell him to call me. He called me up and he was a bit nervous and stuff. Neither of us really knew what the conversation was about. But he's like, "Are you doing it again? Like, I need to get out. I need to meet people." And that's literally what it's for. The guys that do come, he found out about it after the fact, so it was too late. We'll go back and do another one. But there's a lot of guys that just need to go out and maybe meet some new people. Maybe they're trying to better themselves and they got to get away from a friend circle. Maybe they've gone through a breakup and they need to meet new people to carry on. So community-based get-togethers, it's a meet and greet. It's not a mental health directly event.
No.
That's why it's so powerful, and that's why we open it up. Obviously, wives and kids, everyone's welcome. It's about building bonds between people.
And I think it's about even like the whole purpose behind it being open for wives and kids is, we've said time and time again, is that we are men ourselves. We understand that the last thing you want to do is actually take time to spend by yourself, leaving the family at home to go out and do what you think may benefit you. So we've made this a full family-friendly event so that you can go, "Hey, all right, we'll take the wife, we'll take the kids, we'll take myself." A lot of the time, the kids end up just all running around playing together. So you've got these bonds getting made between the kids. You've got the wives, they all sit together. You've got the guys, they all talk together. And you've got like these 3 little communities all starting from this one idea that, hey, let's just get together and meet in person. And it's really, really special.
Program number 3 is our mental health seminars.
Yep.
Or let's extend that, all sorts of wellbeing seminars. The first one we did was a mental health pathways event. We got in a clinical psychologist to teach guys how to better access mental health care. The plan for this is really connecting real professionals with our community in sort of a casual seminar type thing. Come in, we're going to have a bit of a chat for an hour or two. And that's something we're obviously needing to work with more professionals on to be able to deliver. But that's one of the things you'll see a lot more from us in 2025.
And this comes back to that whole thing of what I said before. We aren't professionals ourselves. We are purely the bridge that will link the professionals with those that need it. And by us doing so in a casual manner, like a lot of the time, guys don't want to go see a professional because it's fucking daunting. Like I know, you know, everyone knows who needs to go and see a professional that it's fucking scary. But if we can make it a little bit more comfortable that someone can go and speak to someone in a casual environment, that they're not feeling that threatened feeling, they're more inclined to actually go and do it.
And to do it around people. And I want to extend that this isn't just mental health. Our theory with Better Bloke is if you take 5 steps back from the core issue and start improving some of those other elements of life, you're going to end up a better bloke. So it'd be professionals like nutritionists, even family lawyers, any profession that can help a bloke be better. That's who we want to work with. So if there's any like in particular that you find of interest, let us know. Like send us a message, what you want us to see, and we'll work with those guys to make sure it gets delivered.
Yeah, and likewise, like if you are a professional and you want to help what we're doing, obviously it's going to help you by getting you out to a larger audience. Reach out to us.
Program number 4 is one of the bigger ones that we chose to tackle. It is important. It's sort of workplace training, you could call it. It's a bit of a stale term, but making ourselves presence in the workplace to, I guess, discuss some different strategies guys can use for dealing with themselves, their workmates, to make their lives better again, dealing with the mental health.
This has been a thorn in my side, just because it has been something that, like, I'll come back and forth from, and I'll work on it, and I'll do this and this and this, and then I'll look at it in an overall picture. And we've said it so many times that, like, we critique ourselves so hard, and it's something that I feel is so important because guys spend most of their time at work. You need to, like, I just feel like it's the best place to speak to a lot of these guys, where they're in their environment, that whether they like work or not, they're going to fucking be there. But it makes me nervous about this one, just because I know how much, like, what it means to me, and I know the importance of this one. It's coming. Yeah. It's coming.
You knock it out of the park, mate.
Oh, hope so.
So they're the 4 programs. Obviously, we do other bits and pieces. We want to get more resources sort of developed and out there. We got to work with some professionals on getting them done. But there's a whole bunch of exciting stuff happening for Better Bloke. And before we round it out, I just want to give you props, because you've taken on board some of these things we're talking about, and the improvement that you've made as a person, especially, it comes out physically, it looks physically, but the way you're able to communicate and the thought you're putting into things and then getting it back out through your mouth has been an extraordinary change in the last year. So props to you. I'm proud of you, Rob.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Look, and I will say that straight back at you as well, because
I wanted a compliment back.
Yeah, no. If I didn't want a compliment, I'm not the type that will just throw a compliment out there. I think everyone should know that by now. But you, between the both of us, most people would have looked at us two and compared us and gone like, yeah, Matty's so emotionally intelligent. I think you put that across that you were, but you have actually become a lot more emotionally intelligent, I feel, than you previously were, just by doing hard shit.
Well, like I said before, it's sort of forced me into learning about things. Like, you've held yourself more accountable, like pretty much after we spoke to Fight Dietitian, you're like, all right, I'm going to get my shit together. And then you got the boxing fight coming up as well, which is giving you a catalyst of change. A lot of my change has been how deep I think about these topics and what that actually means in my own life.
Yeah, when you're researching something, you can actually tell that you put yourself in the position of how it's going to affect you.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, that's been great for me. That's been great for my relationships. And I mean, I'm not a finished work of art. I'll keep working on it, but
I mean, no one's ever going to be a finished work of art, and that's our whole messaging. It's just be better. Don't be the best, be better.
Be better. Cool. So on that note, as we've said, jump onto betterblokeproject.org. We got all the information on there, from the upcoming events to all the past podcasts, the great discussions we've had. If you do believe in what we're doing and do want to support us, help and roll out this mission to more people, and just supporting the cause of fucking off suicide as the leading cause of death for Aussie blokes, drop us a donation. If you're feeling really generous, hit the recurring button, and you could just put $5 a week, a fortnight, anything would help. What else? You can find us on the socials too.
You can find us on the socials, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, wherever else you want to find us. Don't forget to head to the betterblokproject.org. Don't forget to head to the betterblokproject.org website. Like Matty said, if you are a business and you do want to get involved with supporting the charity, we are more than happy to talk to you. Remembering we are not just a podcast. I cannot reiterate that enough. We are a charity. Likewise, if you're a professional and you want to offer maybe some help to us, we are never going to say no to anyone helping us if we can help out more blokes. And that is the whole core behind what we're trying to do. I think that pretty much rounds it out, doesn't it, Matty?
For the 52nd time, round us out, Rob.
I know. Oh, it's not the 52nd. I made you do one.
Oh, I did have to do one once.
Yeah,
51st time then. Hit us with
51st. As always, be better.
Oh, that sounds good.
It does, doesn't it? Sounds like we're a year old now. Look at us go. Proud of you.
Proud of you.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Better Bloke. If you got anything out of it, show some love by dropping a 5-star review below.
If you want to learn more about everything we're doing, head to the description, hit the links and follow us on the socials. If you want to learn more about the project, head to betterblokeproject.org.